There is a simple answer that stares at us regardless of the question. So wherever we look, wherever we may be, this answer exists. And this answer is represented by a flower, and more specifically by the journey that a seed makes in becoming a flower. So we have a seed, it goes through a journey, and it culminates in the reality of a flower. Now this is a pattern of sustainable progress, and if we look at the three phases of this journey, we see that we have a seed or a physical stage which is reflective of the status quo. We have a stalk or vital stage that's reflective of energy, growth, assertiveness. We have a flower or mental stage that's reflective of purpose, intent that may have been inherent in the seed. So here's the answer. What are some questions that this answers? So, in fact, there are many questions, but let me just state a few. First, how has the economy evolved? Second, is there a sense or a direction to market crashes? So, a sense in market crashes. A third representative or random question, if you will. How do teams evolve? A fourth one, what is the future of the internet? And a fifth sample question, what is the structure of space? So coming to the first question, how has the economy evolved? So let's represent this by this universal pattern. So we have three stages, the physical, the vital, the mental. And as we look at how the economy itself has changed over perhaps hundreds of years, we see that it began with the agricultural economy, and that had to do very much with what the eye can see, with the physical aspects of life. Then we had the industrial economy, something that's much more energetic, that has or is composed of a large number of flows of different kinds, so it's very vital in its nature. And then we have more recently the digital economy. And if we think about degrees of freedom, we see that there's been an increasing degrees of freedom with each subsequent economy, and the physical relates to the agricultural, the vital to the industrial, and the mental to the digital. However, when we ask where is the economy headed, then we can consider this to be a pattern within a pattern and think about this on a larger scale. So here we have the seed, the growth, and the culmination again. So the physical, vital, and mental. And we have three stages here. We looked at this middle stage. So all of the activity, all the progress that we have seen over the last hundreds of years is within this vital realm or level. And we can say that right now we are at the boundary, broadly speaking, between an overall vital economy and a mental economy. So getting toward this purpose and intent in the flower. And so there's going to be a lot of paradigm shifts, there's going to be a lot of breakdowns of monopolistic structures, and perhaps we're heading towards democratization of markets and the power of the individual in general. So let's think about another question. Is there a sense to or a direction in market crashes? And here, let's think about market crashes that have occurred over the course of the last 4 decades or so. So we have the seed, the germination, the growth culminating in a flower. So the physical, the vital, the mental. And we'll start here with the year 1973, 1974, which saw the first US bear market after a period of some stability. The stability itself was because all currencies were pegged to gold, and then just prior to 73, 74, it was unpegged, so currencies began to diverge, began to float. There was a lot more money available, so we saw an activity that went from here to here in terms of the availability and flow of money, because there was no more anchoring on gold. And in 1987, we saw a synchronized global crash that hadn't occurred up till then. Through the 90s, this synchronized global crash first resulted in a large amount of cash, money that was now available globally, and we saw the Japanese asset bubble. And this resulted through the 90s in the Asian financial crisis, the Russian financial crisis. And basically what we see here is that the sense or sensibility in money, what we think money may exist for, is randomized, and it takes on a very vital flow. So the intent behind any kind of activity or any kind of project is lost in a general flow where money becomes the meaning of everything. And around 2000, we see the dot-com crisis, which really had a lot of good residue in its wake. So for example, we saw the rise of the internet, plays like Google, Amazon, eBay, which get to the democratization of markets, so increasing individual power. So we begin to see a general trend from the physical through the vital to the mental, and then around 2005 to 2010 with the housing crisis and then the global financial crisis, what really this represents is a tug of war between the past and the future, where you have the Dow Jones Industrial Average that plunges, financial mess of various kinds due to all kinds of inventive products. And more recently, around 2010 to 2012, we have the Greek debt crisis and the Occupy movement and the European Union sovereign debt crisis. And really what this represents, it's a question around what is wealth, what is the purpose of money, and this is a fundamental question that we're left with that kind of epitomizes this movement that is at the barrier between the mental and the vital. So we see this sense, this emerging sense across decades that in fact meaning is got to this because of the way a seed becomes a flower.